All right, cool. I don't know if there's anybody live. I would assume we got a couple people in here that are here to hang out. So I'm gonna get started. I'm excited about this. I've been looking forward to this event. How to market yourself in 2026. Pretty exciting. It's crazy to say that the holidays are here pretty much, right? It's like a week away till Christmas. New Year's is right here. And if you're anything like me, you're constantly thinking about like, how do I improve my business? How do I get better at what I do? Um, so pretty much the overall concept or theme of today is breaking free from generic marketing. It ties into a variety of different topics that we could talk about. The biggest one, I don't even have a slide for it, which is kind of funny, but the biggest one realistically is artificial intelligence, AI, right? Most people aren't ready for this. And what we are seeing a lot of with artificial intelligence is generic content. You can get some really cool stuff from it. It has some amazing tools, and we all use them. But we do see that. So we can let's jump to that next slide actually, and let's kind of jump right into things. So I have a quote for anybody who doesn't know who I am. I guess I'll explain quickly who I am and who Tilo Productions is. My name is Tom LaFaso. The company is Tilo Productions. We like to say it's like J-Lo, but with a T. What we focus on is creating social media content for a variety of businesses around the country. Most of them, I would say, are local Long Island-based service companies, but we've done a ton of, product marketing or people that are like coaches that can, or even mortgage brokers, people that can work all around the United States, right? So we've helped hundreds of different businesses, business owners at this point, create social media content, grow their business, overall just create a better life by putting themselves out there and really showcasing who they are, what they do, what makes them different, right? So that's Tilo Productions. I've been in the business now I've owned this business for about 5 years. I've been in sales and marketing for, I guess, probably about 10, which is kind of crazy to say. I love what I do. It's so fun. I love sales. I love being able to like get people over the edge and think about the psychology of what does that. And it translates perfectly into social media marketing because it's exactly what we're doing, right? Is we're basically selling ourselves or our business right through the camera, right through social media, right through our phone, whatever it may be. So I really like this quote that I found from Albert Einstein. Basically has nothing to do with social media today, and I was thinking about it, like what would Albert Einstein even think if he saw like an iPhone? His head would probably explode or something like that. But strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. So right now, we'd like to call it a search algorithm with social media. What everybody is focused on is what they're interested in. Right. So if you're interested in food, if you're interested in real estate or in pretty kitchens and bathrooms, and you're interested in all of these other topics and whatever, those are the things you're going to see, right? If you're a roofer and you constantly are putting out roofing content and you're wondering why, you're only getting guys that are interested in roofs or other roofers seeing your content, it's because that's what they're interested in, right? If you're somebody who needs a roof, typically you're probably doing some research, right? And you're going to be on the internet typing away, trying to figure out, asking ChatGPT on Google, what's the price that I should be paying for square footage, blah, 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 blah. So now your algorithm is going to start changing because it's what you're interested in. Not to say that like you're passionate about roofs all of a sudden, but if you need a roof, you're doing the research, this is what happens, right? So long story short, and we're going to get into this whole thing, but long story short, this quote is perfect because it's not necessarily, you don't have to showcase that you're the best on social media and on the internet. You just have to show that you can bring some sort of value, that you're good at what you do, not even the best. And by showcasing that on a consistent basis, you will see your business grow. You will absolutely see your business grow. And I have a fun story that I'm going to say for you as we kind of get through this of being the real version of you realistically. So strive not to be a success, but rather be of value. So we see this in the way the algorithm works today, right? It's a search algorithm. Let's go to the next slide, Mike. All right, cool. So biggest problem today, right? Too often marketers fall into the trap of generic content. This content fails to capture attention and it certainly doesn't communicate your brand's unique message effectively, right? This is something we see all the time in today's world. Canva is a perfect example of generic content. Everybody thinks they're like a whiz all of a sudden because they're like, oh, I can pay $10 a month for Canva. Sick. That's awesome. However, your content's gonna look pretty much like everybody else's if you're just using their templates and so on and so forth. If you're in the industry like myself or anybody that works here, we can spot that stuff so easily. You know how many commercials I've seen on TV where there's literal stock footage from like Adobe's website that I literally recognize and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Right? So we want to try and avoid this as much as we can. And the crazy thing is right now is that people are setting the bar so high when it comes to creating social media content. It's crazy. From my perspective of somebody that owns a marketing agency and is in this business, I'm seeing some of the craziest stuff that people are doing. They're hiring full teams of videographers and content creators to come out and make some outstanding content. Really things that tell the story about who they are. So the common mistakes are simple: cliche visuals, boring messaging, and a lack of authentic storytelling, right? So this is something that we're going to see constantly if I were to just scroll through. And it's not even something that I'm going to scroll through and see because it's not going to pop up on my feed. One, I'm not interested in most of the content that, a service-based business is going to be putting out, unless, once again, I'm interested in whatever it is that they have service-based wise. And most cases, it's not actually getting the point across. So if it's not getting the point across, it's not going to really hit the feeds that you want to. It doesn't help you stand out, and it just kind of makes you blend in with everybody else, right? So this is something that we really want to try and avoid is generic content. Stock footage is something that we can try and get away from. Also things like Canva. I mean, Canva is great, don't get me wrong, but if you work with somebody that actually can understand a design, maybe they can even still use Canva, but however, not make it look super generic like everybody else's, right? Another way to get over this is going to be by getting somebody to actually come out and film or take pictures of what it is that you do. Even if you're someone that sits behind a desk and you're like, I don't know what to make content of. I don't know what to do. There's still a variety of different things that you can do to make content that will make you stand out. One of those biggest things would be talking head videos, right? Something that I'm doing right now, basically. Standing up, sitting down, whatever you're most comfortable doing, putting a camera in front of you and saying, hey, this is what I do. This is who I am. This is where you can find me. And by the way, this is what makes me different and why you should work with me. It's so simple at the end of the day. And the funny thing is I go to networking events all the time and people are doing this. Sometimes they're really good at it. Sometimes they stand up and say terrible things. And you're like, what was the point of that? But at the same time, like, people are actively going out. It doesn't take that much more effort to just take your phone and make a video, right? So I'm going to get into even just doing something like taking your phone out and kind of where the bar is right now. But even still, like, I still encourage it. Content is king. Do the most that you can. All right, let's jump to the next slide, Mike. All right, cool. So I kind of already spoke about this, but we'll go into it a little bit more in depth. So when you look at a competitor's social media, you see a trend, a heavy reliance on stock photos, generic quote cards. This is very monotonous, right? It's a monotonous marketing landscape. The result is a major lack of originality and distinctiveness. So again, what we're talking about is that, let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like some sort of business that I see all the time. Let's do insurance. Let's say you're an insurance agency, right? Insurance broker, insurance agency, something along those lines. You're in the insurance world of some sort. I see this all the time with insurance people where they just post this like super generic content, like, oh, it's 4th of July. Here's just a random picture. And it's like, cool, that's great. But it literally does nothing for your social media. Most people aren't going to see it. The people that actually like follow you and vibe with you, whatever, it does nothing for them. Like, cool, you posted a random photo on that day or whatever it is. You want to put a little bit more thought into it. And if you're going to plan out that far ahead where you're like, hey, we're going to plan out the next 6 months or the next year of content, really think about like, how can I think outside of the box and do something that's just a little bit crazy, whatever that is. It could be simple, but it could also be this drastic, event that you put on, right? So we really want to think about our competitors and how do we look different from them. One of the things that people are going to do when they're doing research is they're going to compare you with people in your industry, right? So when you Google search something, you're going to get, 6 different results that pop up, or at least 3 sponsored results that pop up. Let's say you're somebody that advertises on Google, you're somebody that advertises on Facebook, on any of these platforms. When somebody finds your advertisement, typically they are finding like a competitor advertisement at the same time. what makes you stand out from your competitor? What is it that makes you stand out, right? Is it going to be the type of content that you're putting out? Are you doing what we call abstract marketing today, which is maybe a term that I completely made up on my own, which abstract marketing could be something along the lines of, um, content that has nothing to do with what it is. So let's say you're an insurance guy, but now all of a sudden you want to make a podcast about like paintball or something like that, right? Like it has nothing to do with what you do. However, by bringing people into what you're interested in, they might all of a sudden be like, oh, wait, you do insurance? Yeah. Oh, cool. I need an insurance guy. So again, these are ways that we can think about how do we make ourselves look different than our competitors? How do we stand out in such a crowded world, in such a bloody sea of all these sharks out there trying to go after business? What do we do? What do we do? All right, cool. Let's jump to the next slide. All right, so the solution, right? Break free from generic marketing. Break free from generic noise. You have to embrace authenticity and creativity. This is basically what I was just saying, right? So whatever we can do to embrace the most creative, authentic version of the videos that you're creating. You have to stand out by showcasing your unique brand, your brand story, using engaging visuals, and
Can you
articulating a
grab
clear value proposition,
there's a gym
right?
bag and pair of sneakers in
That's
my backseat for
super,
Johnny?
super, super important, especially the clear value proposition. So this is something that I think most people that are in business, work for themselves, or somebody who's trying to create content to grow online. One of the things that they all think about is like, how do I create the most viral video ever? And you don't need that. And that is what I'm trying to preach wholeheartedly today is that you don't need these viral videos. It's extremely rare for this to happen, to be completely honest with you. However, there are things that you can do to make yourself stand out from the pack. You don't have to look like everybody else. You want to do things that'll make you, be differentiated in a very saturated market. So let's see. It leads directly to enhanced recognition and a stronger connection with your audience, right? So just by being a little bit more about who you are, showcasing exactly what it is that your brand is, that's a little bit different. Like let's say you're a niche. You work solely with like women in business, or you work with like minorities, or whatever it is that you do. Maybe you just want to work with like the everyday homeowner that's here on Long Island, and that's your target market. Well, then speak directly to them. You don't need to be just taking random pictures of whatever it is that you do. You can think a little bit about like, okay, what's the sales process like when somebody is buying my service? What do they do? How do they go about this? Okay, how can I create content, videos, pictures, graphics, etc., even emails that make me stand out? And one of the things I'm really talking about the most is video marketing. So Mike, let's jump to that next slide because this is video marketing. In today's digital landscape, video is a crucial tool for success in today's digital landscape, right? I said that twice. That's funny. All right, so video, right? By 2026, effective marketing will rely on high quality video content that engages audience and drives conversion. I couldn't agree with this anymore. Literally anymore. Video is going to be forever the next phase until something else comes out where it's like, maybe, I don't know, you have like things popping up in your eyes or something, but that's probably going to be like 40 years down the line. Maybe with meta glasses or something like that. But like for right now, for real, video is the best way to get yourself out there. Most people wake up in the morning, and I've said this at a variety of different networking events. Most people wake up in the morning, the first thing they do is pick up their phone and go on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever it is. Everybody does it. It's a terrible habit. I do it too, but everyone does it, right? So embrace the powerful tool that we have in front of us. Posting on social media is completely free, and I think most people like totally underestimate that. They think like, oh, I have to like it is completely free to ask your friend while you're at your B&I breakfast to say, hey, can you take my phone, and when I'm about to do my 40 seconds or my 60 seconds, can you film me as I'm doing this? And I'm gonna post that on social media. I'll do the same for you. It takes no time to do that. You're gonna do your 60 seconds anyway. You might as well have somebody film you, and now you have a piece of video content to post on social media. So that's one way to do this. There's also, I'm gonna sit at my desk and I'm gonna type something out and maybe make a small script or a couple bullet points and really think about this, right? So there's so many different ways to start getting yourself out there and be like unapologetically, uniquely yourself. Be you. So embrace the powerful tool. It's how you elevate your marketing. It's how you elevate your marketing strategy. And honestly, just this is how you're going to stand out in this crazy world that we live in. Video marketing is the best thing out there. All right, cool. Let's actually jump to the next one because this is really good. This is really good. This is a conversation I have with people pretty much every day in a sense, but um, and I just touched on this very, very, very shortly, but expectations, right? And a realistic ROI, return on investment, or in the marketing, or I guess in the networking world, they like to say, and return on inclusion. But like overall, the expectation is you're not going to make viral content. It's not going to happen. I tell this to most people. If you do, awesome, good for you. It's sick. I've made so many videos at this point. I've made thousands of videos. I There's not necessarily like a magic wand that I can wave and be like, that's the one that's going to do it. I've thought that many of times. I have posted hundreds of videos where I'm like, that's the one. This is it. It's going viral. And then it gets like 11 views. And you're like, what is going on? Don't get stuck up on the views. This is not about being viewed more on social media. This is not about being, the next Tony Robbins or the next, whatever, insert your famous influencer here. Like, this is not about that. This is about creating a business that's lasting. This is about creating money that can be transferred as generational wealth or whatever it is, whatever your goal is. That's what this is about. This is not about, oh, I'm going to have 1 million people watching me on social media and then my business is going to blow up. So, to go even a step further into this, and I get so passionate about this topic because I've seen it play out so many times. And again, it happens. It's very random and it happens. The videos just happen to go viral. We just posted a video for Belmore Fire Department recently and got 90,000 views. How? I don't know. There's no yes or no to these things. It's a fire video, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, there's nothing that tells me why that one did better than something else, right? So one of the things that we talk about though is with your industry, when you're creating content, that special number that you really should be talking about, right? What is that? Do you need 10 clients from social media? Do you need 100 clients from social media? And there's those expectations that you should actually have in play. So the story that I always like to go back to is this roofer that I worked with. And he did a few videos where he would get over 1 million views on the video. And it was pretty crazy. There was one video he had like 3 million views. And I was like, holy shit, man, this is crazy. Like this is a ton of views. I'm impressed. But then once you start digging into it, you start to see that the people that are commenting on the videos, liking the video, really engaging with the video, they're all people that were in his industry. They were roofers. And so I asked the simple question, okay, you're engaging with all these roofers, which is awesome, but like, what's your sell? Do you have some sort of course that you're selling them? Do you have something that you can offer these roofers? And he's like, no. And it's like, okay, so how much money have you like made from these videos hitting 1 million views? And he's maybe $10. And it's like, okay, so you're focusing on creating this content that is really hitting the wrong target market, and you're not even seeing the fruits of your labor in a sense. So what is the point? Now, if you are that person that wants to make the viral content, then set yourself up for success. Make content that speaks to those people, and then have a course or have something lined up that gives you that ability to do that. And we've done that. I've built several courses at this point. We're building one right now for a business coach where people will be able to see her advertisement, sign up for a course, and then go through, a five different modules with several videos in each module. And that's how you funnel people into your business and actually, again, create something that's lasting, not just a video that goes viral for a week and then poof, it's gone. You'll never see it again. So understanding that there's some real expectations, right? Viral hits are super rare, so we don't need to chase them. What builds brand recognition over time is consistent quality, not one-off miracles, right? And I couldn't say this, and I believe this wholeheartedly. The last thing that I would like to bring up here when it comes to the industry expectations is the fact that the CEO of Instagram came out. This is probably like January or February. Yeah, January, February of this year, I want to say. He came out, and I could probably even find the video. It's on his actual Instagram page. If you pull it up, he basically talks about that likes and follows are not necessarily the most important metric anymore. And the reason why he says this is because going back to the search algorithm, people are interested in what they're searching for, right? So we're not necessarily seeing people following and getting tons of followers on Facebook and Instagram like we used to. But what we are seeing are views and engagement is really it. Engagement would be things like liking, of course, commenting, or even sharing. So having people view and engage the content are the two biggest metrics. We don't really care about followers anymore. This is primarily for most of the platforms because, again, it goes back into this search algorithm. People are searching for what they're interested in. So again, let's just keep that in mind as we continue through the rest of this. The one-off miracles, it's not really it's not really a realistic expectation at the end of the day. You want to focus on your industry, you want to focus on who you are, what you do, what makes you different, and that is what will create an everlasting business for you. And you're probably asking like, Tom, how do I do this? Like, how do I get to this point? Like, what is the actionable steps? Like, hang on, we're gonna get there. Kind of just going through the problems at this point. So, cinematic quality matters. Tom Lafaso. It's a great guy. Good quote. Basically what I just want to get across is that the quality is like the level is the bar is really high right now. It's really high and it's only going to get higher. People like myself, videographers, freelancers, editors, we are technically a dime a dozen in a sense. Now, being a professional marketer and knowing what to do, that not so much a dime a dozen, but finding somebody who can create you some great content, make you look high quality on camera, they're out there. They're all over. And it doesn't necessarily cost a ton of money to hire some of these people. It could be $100, $200 an hour for somebody, or it could be a few $1,000s, depending on, the types of quality that you're looking for. I can almost guarantee it's going to be better than your iPhone if you do hire somebody to help you out. So I suggest that you do so, especially in 2026. I'm telling you, it's starting to get crazy out there. Some of the videos that I'm seeing people do, I'm like, how much money did they pay for that? It had to have been $10,000 for that one video. It's getting crazy. So cinematic quality matters. I've been saying this since day one. Take your iPhone, throw it out the door. You don't need to use it anymore. Get a real camera, a real microphone, and really start putting yourself out there and showcase, right? So last thing I can say about this, and I said this at a networking event last week, and I think most people probably looked at me a little funny, but I like to ask this question as almost like a rebuttal as I'm working or talking with somebody and they want to do content is, what kind of car do you drive? How much money have you put into, your vehicle, or how much money have you put into your office, right? Do you have nice painted walls? Do you have nice granite countertops? Do you drive a car that's, Mercedes, a BMW, a Tesla, whatever it is. Now, nobody needs any of those things. You don't need granite countertops. You can do like the Formica stuff or whatever, and you don't need a BMW. You can drive a Toyota. You don't need any of those things. But the reason why we do those things is because we care about what people perceive of us. Regardless if we're like, I really like it. It's like, yeah, of course you really like it, but at the same time, you care about what people perceive of you. If you care so much about those things, you should care about the cinematic quality when it comes to your social media, when it comes to your website, when it comes to all of these things, right? So, all right, cool. Let's go to the next slide because we have some actionable tips. So here is a immediate actionable tip. I know I just told you to throw your iPhone away, but not everybody has, the budget to do so. This workshop today is for me to pretty much explain to you, to the best of my ability, how to like enhance what you're doing and better yourself for 2026. I realize my phone's over there, so hang on. Mike, can you hand me my phone? There. All right, so back here. All right, so there is vertical and then there's horizontal, right? So vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. Super simple. Everything on social media is vertical. So if you're filming your videos horizontally, kind of no reason you should be doing that. Unless like you're in construction and you're like, I want to take pictures for my website or something like that, then yeah, like snap pictures away. As if, it's horizontal. It'll fit nicer on your website. It'll look better. But in this case, we're talking about creating a video of yourself, right? So first things first, you can go on Amazon right now for like 30 bucks. You can buy one of these tripods. I wish I had one with me. And I do somewhere, but I don't have it here. Basically, it's a simple tripod. Your phone fits on it. Very easy to use. I suggest that. It goes high too, so you can have it where it's like right in front of you, eye level with you. And that's what you want. You don't want to be looking down at the camera. I've made a video about that. Try and keep it eye level. If you're filming selfie mode, again, same thing. You want to try and keep it eye level with you. But again, keeping it up. Now, one of the things I say on here, other than filming vertical, is the 2x zoom. So most phones, the cameras on the back are a lot better. So if you're gonna use your phone, use the cameras on the back. Don't use the selfie camera. I know it's weird because you're just staring at like nothing, but use these. Also remember to clean the lenses. People forget that all the time. Just wipe it. It'll do a miracle to your camera. Um, so you put it down, and then the last thing you want to do is put on a 2x zoom. So a 2x zoom on most phones, this isn't going to be for every phone, but for most phones, the 2x zoom, what it's going to do is it's going to put you on about 24 millimeters. 24 millimeters is basically the most flattering for your face. Um, so it's something that you want to just keep in mind. Once you have this set up, there's a couple other things that you can do as far as like making sure that you have some good lighting, right? So, for example, I have like crazy fancy lighting set up here. You don't need that stuff. You could stand in front of a window. If you're gonna stand in front of a window, though, make sure there's like some blinds or something that's kind of filtering that light as it comes in, mainly because it will like beam off your face, and it's not very flattering to do that. So make sure you have some good lighting. Don't be in a dark room. The other thing is audio. Some of these phones today, the audio that comes through them is amazing. So just make sure you're in a quiet place. There's not crazy stuff going around. And if there is, make sure it's like part of your video. If you're, if the video you're on New York City streets and it's busy and whatever, that's like part of the whole thing, right? So, simple adjustment though, and it assures clearer images and more engaging composition. So basically all this is optimized for social media. Vertical videos, they thrive on these platforms. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube has shorts now. I highly, highly recommend going to YouTube. And then it'll help capture your audience attention effectively. So, all right, so I'll go into the next slide is a little bit more about do's and don'ts. So, all right, this kind of goes into what I was saying a little bit before, but overall, again, like I really can't stress this enough. The bar is really high right now. So if you're just getting into creating social media content, then yeah, all right, fine, like bend these rules a little bit. But at the end of the day, if you're somebody who's been creating content for a while, or you've been, for the past 4 or 5 years, slowly putting out different video content little by little by little, well, you're gonna want to amp it up. And you're gonna want to amp it up. What's coming out right now is again at that next level. So do's and don'ts. I'm gonna go through the don'ts first because this is really what I want you to focus on is things that you don't want to do. And I just said this realistically, but low resolution footage. If you have an old phone, stop making content on it. Just go get a new one or talk to somebody like me. I can guide you in a direction if you want to work with us. There's GoPros, there's cameras on online that we can buy. DJI makes a bunch of cool cameras. There's a variety of different options. Poor lighting, again, you don't want to be filming in a dark room. You also don't want to be like having the light blasting on your face. It doesn't look good. And then the last one's distorted audio. I really can't stress this enough. Bad audio really will get people to go so quickly and be like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this anymore. All right. And then higher resolution images is part of the do's, proper lighting, clean audio. So basically the opposite. I can't really stress enough though, the higher quality. Like the new iPhone does take some pretty good videos. So if you have one, definitely use it. A lot of times it doesn't necessarily come down to the camera. It comes down to the user of the camera. And this kind of goes for most things, right? As people are, in any industry, it's just like any tool, right? Some people are going to know how to use it better than others, and that's fine. So if you have questions, reach out to somebody like myself. I have a team here. I can even pass you along to anybody that works with me, and we can answer some questions for you. If you want to work with somebody and you're unsure of it too, hit me up. I would be happy to answer questions. We're also going to get into this next phase here is basically a couple things that you can focus on. And then the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with too is a DIY guide. So a way that you'll be able to make your own content. So should be pretty fun. All right, so let's jump to that next slide. This is the authority trifecta. This is pretty cool. So this is something that I talk a lot about with clients. Do we necessarily like say these specific words? Not necessarily. However, it's all kind of the same thing. And then this is where I have like a fun story that I'm going to be able to kind of jump into. But this brings us to the authority trifecta. It's consistent three crucial pillars: the human element, proof, and the offer, right? So by using these three, you can build trust, credibility, and ultimately leading to higher conversion rates and customer loyalty. So I'm gonna jump in a lot more deeper into these three things here, but let's just really quickly, human element, proof, and offer, right? A human element, something that brings you to the table. And if it's not necessarily you, let's say you have a big company, you have, business development people, you have salespeople, whatever it is, where there is that human element to it. Now, these three things really are focusing if you're a service-based industry. If you're somebody that can sell products around the country, you can still bring this human element. It's just a little bit, I would say a little bit different. Like you're focusing more on the virtual side of things. With being an in-person business, somebody who has a storefront or whatever it is, something that has local business, you are going to be focusing this human element on more of a local aspect, networking groups, chambers of commerce, whatever. But they do have that digitally, right? You can join something like, I know locally they have American Business Associates and they do weekly virtual calls, right? So something like that. This is where you're going to start meeting people, building relationships, etc., right? The proof is necessarily once you have the business. You have the business, you have now, hey, look, check out my portfolio. I just did this roof for this guy, or I just helped this business owner hit $1 million through my course, or whatever it is, right? And then the offer. The offer is then that next step, which is how do you get them from point A to point B and what you're going to do for them. So pretty great. So trust builds through relationships, client satisfaction leads to loyalty, and engagement drives conversion. So let's jump to the next slide because basically I can jump into the story. Okay, we have this and then I'll jump into the story. So basically 85% trust built through relationships, client satisfaction leads to loyalty, and then engagement drives conversion. Like, look, these are all very, I didn't invent this by any means. It's just for me, I found this out through building my own successful company at this point, but at the same time, seeing other people do it. It's not, I reinvented something. I'm not a rocket scientist, anything like that. It's just, I wake up every day. I know what I need to do. I'm going to put these things into action. And then after 6 months, after a year, oh my gosh, look at what happened, right? So trust, right? Build through relationships. And that's what I'm talking about. The in-person things, client satisfaction. If you do a good job and people are happy, they're going to tell their friends, their family, their colleagues, their business partners, whatever it is, right? And then engagement. Once you have those happy people, hey, by the way, follow me on social media. Hey, follow me on social media. Oh, I'm doing my engagement on social media. Oh, I found, XYZ insurance company and I follow them and the owner followed me back and now he sees everything that I do, right? And now every time I go to that networking event, hey, Tom, that video that you did was awesome. That was amazing. I can't believe that. I love seeing the work that you do. Or, oh, I had no idea that you did that. Or whatever it is, right? This is where that human element ties together with the engagement. So, Mike, let's jump to that next slide, which is the human element. Exactly. All right, cool. All right, so building trust and connection always starts with showcasing personality, right? Sharing your authentic story engages audiences, making your brand relatable and memorable in a crowded marketplace. So trust, connection, authentic story, those words are highlighted for a reason. Trust and connection, I mean, this is probably the most important part, right? It's how I got some of my first clients. People trusted me. And I was like, wait a second, you're going to trust me to do this? Like, I've never done this before for anybody. You're going to allow me to make videos for you, for your business, and you've been around for how many years and you're going to allow me to, so building that trust with people. Also, part of this is building it with yourself, right? You have to build that trust. You have to, build that confidence that on the inside and on the outside, right? I can do this. I'm going to show myself I can do this. And then telling everybody else around me, look at what I can do, right? So building that human element is super important. So some of the best ways to do this cost effectively is through networking groups. There's a lot of things that you can go to that don't cost money or minimal amounts of money, right? Getting involved in just about any industry will help your business grow. And this is where that abstract marketing that I was talking about before comes into play. And I hear this all the time from clients that I work with. Somebody I work with gets involved with an animal shelter and he gets a lot of business through there. There's another guy I work with. He's huge into tennis and he gets tons of business through playing tennis. Another guy is a huge golfer. Another one does a lot of pickleball, right? So like people get into these areas where they meet people constantly. They get to tell them what they do, tell them about their friends and their family and build a relationship. And then it leads to business, right? So it's It's not, again, this is not rocket science. This has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. People have been trying to make money and been doing this exact same thing for a long time. But now we have this tool that we carry everywhere with us called our cell phone, and that has access to the internet and that has social media on it, right? So, and what we said earlier is people are first thing they're doing in the morning is touching their phone and going on social media. So again, I'm just trying to build this picture for everybody where you do this human element and then you mix it with with social media, and I'm telling you it's the craziest thing that starts to happen. So overall it's pretty simple. You show your face and you tell your story. So I love this. I love networking. I love meeting people constantly. I love getting out there and doing these types of things. Overall it's just a really great time. So all right, next we're going to jump over to the proof slide. So building credibility is essential. um, This is super important. This kind of goes into what I was saying just before, which is about building the internal and external confidence. Because when anybody starts anything, I think you kind of have to prove to yourself before you prove to anybody else, like, okay, I can do this. Like, this is a real thing. This business actually makes money. This has some success behind it. If you're getting into, certain businesses that have been around for a while, then yeah, you might already have that well known. But somebody like myself, there isn't tons of video social media agencies out there for me to be like, oh yeah, this is totally going to work. And depending on what it is that you do, maybe you're a lawyer and you have a really specific niche and you're like, I don't know if this is going to pay the bills forever. So building that proof internally is very important. Once you build it internally, it typically happens externally at the same time, right? People got to start seeing how you work. Regardless if you're even good at what you do, if you just answer the phone, you show up, you have a smile on your face, you have a good attitude, people will want to continue to work with you. You will get those testimonials, right? So build credibility is essential. Showcase testimonials, client success stories, and compelling before and after footage. Testimonials, I think, is an absolute huge game changer. Most people sleep on this, even myself. If I turn the camera around, I could show you that there is a sticky note on my monitor that says get testimonials, because where I'm standing right now is this beautiful podcast studio that we have. And I forget all the time to do it. Literally, I have a camera on my client and I totally forget to ask them for a testimonial. But if you can do this, it is so, so powerful. And there's a variety of ways that you can. Sometimes people are like, well, my clients don't want to get on camera. They don't want to do a testimonial. Well, there's ways that we can get around this, right? One of those ways could be offer them something. If your industry has like low, ticket items or whatever it is, maybe offer them something for free or offer them a percentage, or maybe offer them something completely different. Like, hey, here's $100 gift card, or, a sweatshirt and a $50 gift card to the movies, or whatever. Like, come up with something and be like, I need a testimonial. I need you to, to talk about your experience, whatever. I will offer you this. I'm telling you, testimonials could be worth thousands of dollars. So if you offer somebody something as simple as a $100 gift card, it's a win-win. The other thing is compelling before and after footage. Before and after is huge, honestly. People really want to see as much of the process as they possibly can. So from, before, during, and after, depending on your industry, we have noticed that some people don't care about the before and after at all. They just care about the after. It kind of comes down to really like how sexy it is, the industry that you're in. If you do something that's awesome, if you're a roofer, I don't really give a shit about the before and after too much. I just want to know, like, do you make roofs that, that look pretty, and so on and so forth. And we've noticed this with solar companies, with roofing companies, that people don't necessarily care as much about the before. They care much about, okay, let me see a little bit of the process. And really, I just want to see what it looks like after. Is it a really pretty house? Can I imagine it as if it's my own? Right. And same thing goes if you're an event company. Like, I don't need to see what the space looked like before the event happened. Just show me what it looks like during the event or after, when it's nicely done and all pretty and etc. So before and after is extremely important, but really it all comes down to showcasing who you are, what you do, what makes you different. Effectively demonstrates your value and enhances trust. So proof highlights the impact of high quality content on engagement and conversion. So one of the things that people say to me all the time, regardless if it's true or not, I like to think that it's true, but they say like, wow, you look so busy. And then I believe that we are very busy, because if I showed you my calendar, you would definitely agree. But by being super active on social media, it allows everyone around you to think that you're crushing it always, regardless if it's true or not. And I've seen people do this. Now, this is going to go into the conversation that I want to bring up, which is being authentically who you are, right? And showing proof is so important, but being real is even more important. People can sniff that stuff out if you're not being real, right? So having testimonials, I've had people send me testimonials that they've had actors do, and they're like, "Can you edit this for me?" and whatever. And it's like that is way too polished. Like nobody sounds that perfect when they're just a random homeowner or whatever. So we want to make sure that we're being as truthful and as honest as possible. And one of the stories that I like to bring up all the time is is about the show The Circle, if anybody's ever seen the show The Circle. And basically that show is it's a bunch of people in their own separate rooms and you have to either pretend to be somebody or you could be yourself. And the goal is to like get through this social experiment and be the last one there and you win money or something along those lines. But if you watch the show, especially from season one, when I remember watching it, is that the people who are like authentically exactly who they are the ones that are most successful. And the same thing goes for social media. It's a great social experiment to show you how it works on social media. If you are exactly who you are, people gravitate towards you. And not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay. But show the proof by being exactly who you are. All right. So, all right. The last thing is the offer. So it's time to take action. So this is pretty cool. Basically, don't do it alone, right? So something that we can offer you guys today, I have two things that I can help out with. And one is I'm happy to do for anybody if you want a social media evaluation, you can just give us a call. We can set up some sort of meeting. It can be virtually, it can be in person. You can come to the studio, whatever it is. But do something for 2026. Get started. If you want help, there's people like myself that are around. You can go on websites like Fiverr. You can go on Indeed and try and hire somebody on your own. Like there's so many different ways to do this. My opinion on it all, and if I'm gonna give you my exact expertise on it, is hire a professional, somebody who's in the marketing world that knows exactly what they're doing and that can guide you in the right directions. It doesn't necessarily need to be somebody that holds a camera that does that. It can be somebody who is a marketing manager that will help you say, hey, hire that guy and hire that guy and hire that guy. And this is how you're going to get to where you need to be. So don't do it alone, right? There's a bunch of people out there that can guide you directly, to where you want to go. And if it's going to be, you want people to go to your website or some sort of sales funnel, we can help ensure your content stands out and drives conversion effectively. And I've seen it time and time again. So all right, cool. Let's just jump to the next slide then. Um, so again, kind of just going right into you can outsource, hire a team like us. We're here to help. We really focus on quality. That's kind of like our biggest thing is that quality, consistency, and effective management. We have a team here of social media managers, people that will, and I say this to anybody we work with in the nicest way possible, we will harass you to make sure that we are on top of your content. If we're going to tell you that we're going to make 4 videos a month for you and we're going to post them every Wednesday, we are literally going to harass you to make sure that we have this content going out. It's super important. And for everything that I've just said leading up to this, it's so important. You want to build this in person and you want to build your digital presence, and then it all kind of comes together, right? Once you're consistent with the in-person, you're consistent with posting online, the business starts to consistently just flow in. And you get those calls like, hey, so-and-so referred me to you. Why did so-and-so refer me to you? Because they've been following me on social media for the past 2 years and have been seeing me post content every day. And when that one conversation came up that said, hey, I need a social media manager, they go, I know somebody who can do that for you. That's why we do this. That's why people pay thousands of dollars for billboards or have Times Square loaded up with all these signs and lights and all this stuff. That's why everybody does this. That's why marketing is so important. So people outsource directly to us because we can ensure the quality, the consistency, and overall effective management. So allowing you to focus on pretty much what's most important, which is your core business. Most business owners are not professional marketers. You're usually good at what you do, and I totally get that. I am not good at, building roofs. That's not what I do, or I don't know enough about insurance to sell it to anybody, or, whatever it is. But when it comes to marketing, that's what I know. That's all I do. This is all I talk about 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. All right, cool. So then last thing, because I know we're running out here and I want to leave some time if anybody has a couple questions, is basically the DIY approach. So look, you could do this all completely on your own. There's no reason why you can't do it. Managing marketing efforts on your own, it can often require 10 to 20 hours a week, and it can lead to inconsistency. It can lead to a lot of frustration, honestly. It could be better utilized partnering with professionals, things like that, right? But we do have something for you that could help. So let's jump to the next slide. Uh, one more, sorry, not the Tilo Productions one. One more. We don't need to go through. I'm going to jump through. Here we go. Okay, so the exclusive offer, right? So if you scan this QR code, it'll bring you right to our website. There's a free guide on the website. I encourage you to scan this, go through it. I encourage everybody to try and do it on their own. If you think you have an hour every week, or at least an hour and a half, 2 hours once a month to create content, do it. And I've laid it out for you. It's about 20 or so steps basically, and I've laid out exactly how to go about this. If you have questions, if you're like, Tom, I don't know what kind of camera to buy, or I want a different microphone, or hey, I want to buy some sort of light, what should I get? Please call me. My phone is open. You can call me. My information will be at the end here. Just take action, do something, stand out in today's world. I can't stress this enough. Everybody looks pretty much exactly the same on the internet until you start putting yourself out there. The same effort that you put into showing up to that, networking group every week, you should be doing the same thing about putting it into social media. If you're going to stand in front of 15 people at a diner and talk about what you do, you might as well do the same thing on your phone and hit a few hundred people, right? So as you can tell, I'm super passionate about this. We specialize in helping people get through this. So again, if you need help, you want to, at least go through like, hey, this is what I'm currently doing. I don't know if it's necessarily helping or working or whatever it is. I can definitely, help you guys out there. One of the things that we also really focus on is that I have a team that works here and we focus on quality control. We try and make sure that, nothing is misspelled, that we're posting things and it's actually going out at the certain times, that we work very closely with our clients to make sure that they're happy and that if there's anything that, they don't like about the videos that we're producing, that we fix that for them. So we're on top of this and we really try and identify any potential issues before they happen, basically to guarantee that, there's no issues there. So, do me a favor though, scan this QR code. It's free, like I said, you can go through it. It's a DIY marketing guide. And it'll kind of go through like the human element that we were talking about. It'll really go through more of like the proof, creating that content, and then, your offer at the end of the day, which is going to be like actually putting yourself out there and how to drag people into this whole thing. All right, cool. Let's jump one more slide, and I think that's pretty much it. I think maybe we have like one more. Yeah, so this is just going into what I was just saying, the human element, proof, and offer. Let's jump one more, and then I'm gonna go into questions. I mean, this is great. Increased engagement rate, higher visibility on social media, and then new clients in Q1. Set goals for yourself. Set goals. Like actually be like, all right, in quarter one, the next 3 months, what am I going to do as far as getting new clients? And this is what I was talking about before. It could be 5 clients for you. It could be 100 clients. It depends on what your sweet spot is. Some people have a higher sell. So if one client is $1,000 in a month or one client's $10, you can adjust accordingly. And then that also can help you make your budget, right? If one client is $1,000 and you work with a company and they help you get 5, they charge you 1,000, you made 4,000, the math lines up, right? Okay, and one more slide, and I believe this is it. So here's my contact information. Thank you everybody who joined today. I really appreciate it. This was super fun. I'm very passionate about this. I enjoy talking about marketing. It's something that I like eat, dream, and sleep about type thing. So, if you have questions, my contact info is here. You can call, you can go to the website, which is tloproduction.com. Hit me up on social media. The best way to get in touch with me is just give me a call. So if you have any questions, I think we're just going to open it up for the next few minutes. I think we have like 9 minutes left. If anybody has any questions, and then we'll wrap this thing up.